believe I got to do this again. Drinking a Yingling for once. No Keystone today, guys. I can't believe I have to actually talk on this subject again or something remotely close to it. But I don't know how many messages, dropped my beer bottle cap. I don't know how many messages I get, how many comments, dumb stuff saying, what do you do for a living? How do you afford it? How old are you? Where did you get your money from? Are you, the best one I think I've heard so far was, are you a trust fund baby? Bruh. I can tell you right now that's not true, but I'll go in depth here of how I afford this all, which to me doesn't seem like a lot, but I get it. You know, some people's perspectives are different than others, et cetera, et cetera. I did a pretty good video on this of what I do for a living, but this will kind of give a perspective of how I afford everything, I guess. And I'm very honest. I'll put that video below. I mean, I tell it how it is, and I'm very truthful and very honest and kind of go through my steps of how I got to where I'm at. I don't hide anything. I even give exact numbers instead of people that tiptoe around and go, oh, no, fuck you. Like, I'll tell you what I make. I don't really give a shit. I mean, it is what it is. The money's there. If you think it's too little, great. If you think it's too much for what I do, then fantastic. It is what it is. But coming down to it, how do I afford the Supra? I have my Acura, the house, et cetera, et cetera. Work. I didn't get anything handed to me. There's no co-signers for anything I've ever had. I've never had to do any of that whatsoever. The Supra's always been mine. This was a non-turbo car. I bought it for $11,000. There's so many things that go into it. To give a little background and stuff, you know, people said like, oh, did you come from money? To put it, like, if you guys want to know like where my family started, my grandfather, not my great-grandfather, not way back in the day, my grandfather couldn't read or write. That's right, my grandfather couldn't read or write. He never could pass his driver's test because he couldn't read or write. He drove around, don't get me wrong. I mean, he worked for a lot of years and he drove, but he never had a license. That gives a little background of where my family came from and where I came from in this little podunk town. We didn't come from any type of money whatsoever. My dad had 2 brothers and sisters and grew up really poor. I mean, really, really poor. My dad ended up doing pretty well for himself. He never went to college or anything, but he ended up doing well for himself. I think this year, he'll make $100,000. In my eyes, that's pretty good money, especially for someone who never got an education or anything, and he works hard. And I'm not downing anyone that doesn't get an education. I'll hear some people in the comments, oh, Ryan says people don't get education. No, fuckers, I'm just saying, because he doesn't have an education, he does very well for himself, and I think he's happy with his life. He has his beach house now. He's done everything he wants to do. And a little backstory on me, you know, went to regular high school, paid for college, went to a tech school, went to ITT Tech, but it wasn't guaranteed. Like when I think I talked in another video, it's like I had to bust my ass. Like people go to college and they go, okay, I'm going to get a job. No, before I was done school, I had my job on Monster, Career Builder, Indeed. I had it everywhere I could, and I had job offers before I left school. You know, I pushed and made it happen. They're not going to come to you. You've got to make it happen. Like, I know that sounds like I've seen it on the internet and stuff, but it's the truth. Like, you can't just sit around and go, oh, it's going to someone's just going to hand me a job. No, it's not. Like, they're not just going to go, well, you know what? He looks like a good guy. Let's give him a job. No, fuckers. You got to put yourself out there and prove to them, why should I hire you? What makes you special from the other 10,000 people that want this job? Prove to them why. Prove to them that you have the hustle. Prove that you're willing to do it. Make the sacrifice. I just don't, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I talked in the last video too a little bit on like, you know, when I lost my job at one time, I ended up moving 4 hours away, living away from my fiance at the time, paying for a house here so she had somewhere to live and work. And then I paid for an apartment up in northern New Jersey, and it was hard. It was a struggle, but I made it happen. It was either that or go into unemployment. I made the decision. I just didn't want to go on unemployment. I've never been on it, and I never have, but I made a decision that I didn't want to do that. So I went ahead and took a job. Got us by for then until I could find something else. So if you're willing to make the sacrifices and willing to bust your ass, then you can do just fine. I mean, I know people say, well, I do bust my ass. I do this. Well, try something else. I mean, maybe I was fortunate. I chose the engineering field, and the engineering field's done me well. But I mean, for the same part, it's also kind of shit on me because it's like this. You know, I've always been a contractor, so my work goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. You know, it's EPC, so engineering procurement companies. You know, get a bunch of work up front, you work, tops off, and then it slowly comes down or it just drops off like a cliff. And I've always done this style of work, and it's always been kind of a rocky relationship, I guess. But to get on how I afford it all, I'll give you exact numbers. How about that, guys? I'm not going to tiptoe around it whatsoever. I make right now $78,000 a year. Last year I made $96,000 with my last company, with overtime and everything else, and then bonuses and structured and stuff. But I've never made $100,000. I have regular car payments, cell phone payments. I don't have a paid cell phone through the company or anything like that. But that just gives you perspective where I'm at. I just want to be as honest as I can with everybody, because I want to put it out there that anyone can do this. Anyone can, as long as you work and you have the hustle there, you can do this just like anyone else. Bought the car for $11,000, non-turbo piece of shit, had so many issues with it, and it was so junked up, and no one wanted it. So I took it upon myself to get it, fix it up, and put the hard work and time in. Other people, once again, aren't willing to do that. I saw my dream car, and I said, this is the one I can afford, go for it. College, where everyone else, I know my boss, who is 45 years old, still has college debt. By the time I was 23, I was 100% debt-free. I had paid every bit of school loans I had off. Now, once again, another clarity, a little bit of honesty. I lived at home till I was 23 and paid it off. I paid everything. Instead of going out, I would drink just like everyone else did, but instead of going out every night to the bar or having a huge car payment or getting fancy stuff, I used every bit of money I got and put it straight towards my school loans because I hated seeing that interest rate. Unfortunately, my family was right in that in-between stage where they made just enough that I couldn't get financial aid. So, I think with my mom and dad together, they made $100,000 at the time. Well, because of that, I couldn't get financial aid. So my interest rates were through the roof. It kind of pisses me off because it's okay, because my family, my dad busted his ass, my mom busted her ass, I get punished for it, which kind of, it's a shitty situation. Or someone else where their parents never did well for themselves, or they weren't willing to work hard, and now their children are allowed to get this government assistance. I never understood all that. That really always pissed me off, but that's another subject in itself. But just to give you a little background on me and where I'm at, the house I have right now, I paid $255,000 for it here in South Central Pennsylvania. Took a loan out just like everyone else. I had a townhouse before this, and I did make money off that, so I put that money towards this house. I also saved money and put it down on this house to bring my payments down. I have taxes. I have car loans. The Acura and stuff, I pay on that. It's just, guys, work hard and put the time and effort where you want it to be. I work a full-time job, leave the house at 5 in the morning, get home around 5 o'clock, and then come home and record these videos, then edit them. How many people want to do that? Or would I much rather be going for a drive in a car? Would I much rather be playing video games? Fuck yes. But you make that sacrifice to do this kind of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy this. I truly enjoy making these videos for people and for my audience. You guys seem to really, what's the word I'm looking for? Take it in well, or appreciate the videos I make. So I don't want you to think I take this all for granted. I really do appreciate everything, and I appreciate y'all's feedback. So I just wanted to do this to put it out there that anything can be done. I don't want to sound like that stereotypical douchebag say, oh, you could become anything. Well, you can, I guess, technically, but you got to work for it. I try to set my goals realistically. There's that Gary Vee out there, he says he wants to own the Jets. I have no desire to own the Jets. All I want to do is pay my house off, have all debt gone, and enjoy life. My goal is to move to South Carolina eventually. I had friends that grew up in Charleston, and I think South Carolina is beautiful. Love the people, love the area. My parents have a beach house now in Myrtle Beach. Nothing special. I think they got that for $100,000 back when the economy was down. Once again, they take their money and whatever they save, and they paid for it in cash. My dad's kind of a tightwad. I'm pretty sure when his wallet does open, you can see the butterflies and dust fly out. So it's all perspective. Some people say well, you only live once, you can only save for so much, and I agree. But I also don't want to see that same person bitching when I'm 60 years old and retired, and they're like, why do I got to keep working? Well, motherfucker, you made that decision. You made that life choice. That goes on you, not me. I'm not here to take care of you because you made the mistakes. Now, I'm not saying that I don't make mistakes, but I think you guys get the understanding of where I'm going at, and I need some more beer now because this is starting to piss me off, even just talking about all this. I just wanted to give you guys some realistic insight on me, the car, the house, what I pay for, what I do. Again, the house was $255, paid $11,000 for this. This is all paid for. The house isn't paid for, but the car's paid for. The parts are all paid for. I've never, ever in my entire life had credit card debt. I use credit cards every single day. I only have one. It has a $30,000 spending limit. But whatever I put on it, I paid off that month. I don't even know what my interest rate is on my credit card. I have no idea what it even is because I don't need to know because I'm not a fucking moron and have credit card debt. That is the worst type of debt you can have. The interest rates for those things are absurd. If you need to get a loan, go get a fucking loan. Seriously. make sure you have good credit, take your time. Now, I do understand it's hard for people to go get loans, especially when you're starting out. I had a hard time getting a loan for my first car. Like, it was a nightmare. And I had a stupid high interest rate because of it. So I get it, guys. You do have to struggle. And I hope you understand I struggled just as like everyone else out there did. I don't know. Here's a little insight into me, and here's my little bit of honesty. So I hope this puts a few things better into perspective, guys. I appreciate you guys even watching this stuff and understanding where I'm coming from. I hope this helps someone else out there to don't get discouraged. Like, I don't know how many times I'm a grown man. I've cried. I've cried myself going, dude, how do I do this? I can't take this anymore. The stress, the pressure. Society puts a lot of pressure on you that you have to do this, this, this. You need to sit down, make a list, and decide what do you want to do with your life? Where do you want to be? And set those goals at a yearly, monthly, daily, whatever you want to be in your life. Set them as goals and work towards it. And it gives you something to look forward to. Maybe enjoy your life a little bit more because of it. So that's just my advice to you. Take it for a grain of salt for all it's worth. I'm just a regular Joe Schmo. I work a regular job Monday through Friday, just like everybody else, just to give you a little bit of my perspective, guys. Thanks for tuning in as usual. Like I always say, check out the description below for my Facebook page and Instagram. Love you guys. Wouldn't be doing this without you. Now let's chug a beer.